Today on The Young and the Restless, Devin and Abby set the date, Harrison expresses his feelings, and Victor gives Kyle a talking to. All products and services featured are independently chosen by editors. However, soaps.com may receive a commission on orders placed through its retail links, and the retailer may receive certain auditable data for accounting purposes. At Society, Abby receives a message from a delivery man. She opens the envelope, reads the note, and smiles. At the Abbott mansion, Harrison tells Kyle and Claire that it was shrimp that made him sick. He ate tons. Kyle snarks about his mom not telling him to slow down, and is just glad he's feeling better. Harrison notes he canceled his trip. Kyle tells the kid he's his #1 priority. Harrison thinks now that he's feeling better they could all go to Paris. Right, Claire? Kyle tells him they'll go someday, but not now. Harrison says his mom told him that it's a good thing he didn't go to Paris, or he might have gotten sick there, and she wouldn't have been there to look after him. He recounts how Summer gave him ginger ale and crackers, which helped. Maybe she's right, maybe it's good I stayed here so she could make me feel better. He declares that they're a family. Claire asks for a hug and gets one. Harrison has an empty tummy and lobbies for ice cream. Summer visits Victor at Newman and they discuss her success at Marchetti. He's so happy she came by and loves to see her. Summer teases that he's a legend. He asks what the flattery is all about. Summer admits she came to ask for his help. She's sure he's heard about the tension between her and Kyle. Victor always thought they had an amicable relationship. Summer says that was before Kyle turned against his family and got himself fired from Jabot. Then he partnered up with Audra Charles to run Glissade. She's proof that Kyle is only thinking about himself. He's not the man she agreed to share custody with. Victor hates to hear that he's moving Harrison out of the only home he's ever known in Genoa City. Summer complains that he's planning to use Glissade to crush Jabot. Audra is a snake. I don't want her anywhere near my son. Kyle won't listen to her, so she had no choice but to sue for full custody of her son. It's the only way to protect the boy from Kyle's toxicity. She complains that Kyle was going to take Harrison on a trip to Paris with Audra. Her lawyer stepped in and stopped it because he could have stayed there permanently. Victor sees her point, but also sees a man trying to get out from under the thumb of his father. Summer knows he doesn't like Jack, but he can't possibly condone Kyle partnering with Audra Charles. Victor wonders exactly what it is she's asking of him. Phyllis thinks they all want the same thing for Harrison, to see him have a happy, well-adjusted life. Diane says Kyle is doing his best to give him that. Phyllis argues he's being irrational right now. He's making bad decisions for Harrison and treating Summer like hell. She just wants to be a good parent to her son, and Kyle is making it impossible. You have to see that he's off the rails. Diane begins to flip out and Jack informs Phyllis, that's enough. Kyle is no threat to Summer. Abby arrives at Chancellor Park to find a romantic picnic set up for her. Devin appears and says, hello, pretty lady. He hands her a pink rose and says he thought she could use some spoiling. She worries about him taking time away from work. He says that right now she's the only thing that matters. They sit on the picnic blanket and Devin tells her he had to make up for blurting out his proposal during a random conversation. Abby reassures him. They were talking about how much they love each other when it happened. They agree they have no regrets. Nevertheless, Devin says if they are going to spend their lives together, the proposal has to do her and their relationship justice. He teases that Dom helped by giving him some great food ideas. He unveils PB&J and cheese sandwiches. Abby guesses dessert is sugar cookies. Devin lifts the lid and the cookies spell out, will you marry me? Devin takes a ring from the cookie platter and gets on one knee. He wants to spend the rest of his life with his best friend. She challenges him to be a better man daily and shows him every day what real trust and acceptance feels like. I'm in complete awe of you, Abby. When she wanted to bring a child into this world, he wanted to help make that happen. Dom couldn't ask for a better mom. You're perfect. He has no regrets about the way things happen. It was meant to be. He couldn't be more in love with her. Abby Newman, will you make me the happiest and the luckiest man on earth and be my wife? Abby says yes, and will keep saying yes every day for the rest of their lives. Devin puts the rock on her finger and they kiss. In Victor's office, Summer tells her grandfather that she wants her son with her, and needs his advice on how to fight foe. When? Victor asks. It's gone that far? There's no possibility of agreement? Summer says 0. Kyle is coming after her. She worries about not being Harrison's biological mother. Kyle could take Harrison away from her completely. She adopted the boy, but she's afraid it's not enough. How do I play this? Victor will talk to Kyle and wants to avoid a war between them. It's not good for anyone and not good for Harrison. At the Abbott house, Kyle tells Harrison, "Let's do this." Just then he gets a text from Victor summoning him to the athletic club lounge ASAP. He says, "Change of plans." Claire will take him for ice cream. Harrison is sent to the kitchen and Claire notes that Kyle seems tense. He says it's a work thing and asks her to keep the smile on his son's face. In the club dining room, Phyllis sits at Diane and Jack's table. She says that Kyle and Summer were co-parenting very well until recently. Suddenly, Kyle started making poor choices and lashing out at her daughter. Diane argues, "That's not true." Phyllis levels that it's absolutely true. "Your son is going down a dark path, Diane." She accuses her of pushing him there by firing him. Who fires their own son? Jack says that's a private family matter. Phyllis complains that the private family matter is affecting Harrison and her daughter now that Kyle has decided to move the boy out of the only home he's known and going for sole custody. Diane accuses Phyllis of twisting the facts. Everything was fine until Summer got a lawyer and took this to court. Jack agrees that Summer made the first move. Phyllis asks what else her daughter could have done. Kyle forced her hand and is making terrible decisions. She complains about him trying to take Harrison to Paris with Audra, who he hopped into bed with while still married to Summer. "You can't tell me you're okay with Kyle ending up with her." Diane thinks Phyllis is the reason Summer suddenly considers Audra a threat. Jack suggests Red back off now, before her help makes this something that Kyle and Summer can't come back from. In the park, Devin pours champagne and makes a toast to the mother of his child and the woman he can't wait to spend the rest of his life with. Abby admires the ring and tells him he's really outdone himself. Devin says blue sapphire represents trust, devotion, and faith. He thought it would be perfect for how he feels about her. Abby loves it, and she loves him. They kiss. Abby can't wait to show her mom the ring. Devona asks how she's doing. Abby says the doctors think she'll be able to come home in the fall. Devin muses that they'll have a fall wedding then. Abby loves his idea of having it on her birthday. What better way to start the next year of her life than as his wife? At the club, Diane suggests that Phyllis help Summer see Claire as a positive influence on Harrison's life, not a threat. Phyllis is keeping her eye on that one. Diane tells her to stop whispering in Summer's ear about Audra. Phyllis argues that she cannot like that woman. Diane says that's beside the point. This is about how Phyllis handles conflict by blowing things up. Phyllis thinks the reason Kyle is acting like this is because his family has ostracized him and pushed him aside. "You fired your son so you could keep your petty job at Jabot. You pushed your son aside so you could look like the queen once again, right? How many times, Diane, will you reject your son?" Diane fumes about Phyllis painting her as the problem. Phyllis sneers, "Oh Diane, you are always the problem." At the park, Claire tells Harrison she's sorry she said no to extra sprinkles, but everyone is really worried about her. Harrison recalls the last time he was sick, when his parents both read to him. They don't do that anymore because of the divorce. This makes him feel sad. He really liked it when they did things together. Claire assures her that their love for him will never change. Harrison laments that they don't love each other. They don't even like each other. Kyle meets Victor in the jazz lounge and learns the meeting isn't about business, but the looming custody battle over Harrison. Kyle says, "Summer came to you." Victor says, "Yeah, and I don't like what I'm hearing." He wants to know what the custody war is all about. Kyle says Summer doesn't approve of Claire as the boy's nanny or Audra as his business partner. She's attacking every choice he makes and being paranoid. It's ridiculous. She's become completely insecure, making accusations and seeing threats where there are none. Victor hopes he's not considering taking Summer out of Harrison's life. Kyle claims he would never do that. Victor tells him, "Then fix it. Talk to Summer. It's not only important to turn Glissade into a powerhouse, more important is Harrison's happiness. So you sit down with Summer and you figure this out." In the club dining room, Diane warns Phyllis that the harder she comes at her, the more obvious it becomes. That she knows she's behind the troubles between Summer and Kyle. She's the reason they broke up in the first place. You forced her to lie to everyone, including her own husband. Diane fumes that she only cares about herself. She saw her children mourn and did nothing. What kind of a person does that? What kind of a mother? Jack tries to stop Diane, but she's not done. She tells Phyllis that she's been unbelievably generous toward her considering what she put her family through. And now for her to pretend she's concerned about Harrison, the grandson she was ready to walk away from forever, and let his other grandmother go to prison. She's the worst kind of hypocrite. Phyllis asks if these words are actually coming out of her mouth right now. Diane, you faked your death for years. Jack was a suspect in your alleged murder and so was I, but that doesn't matter to you, does it? I'm the bad guy. Here they are cozied up. How is that possible? Diane says they have the same kind of love as Danny and Christine. She only uses love to get what she wants, and that's not love at all. If she wants to help their kids, she should leave them alone. Phyllis hollers back and Summer appears and breaks it up. She tells her mother this is about Kyle, not Diane and Jack. She apologizes and drags her mom out. Diane tells Jack that with her involved it's only going to get worse. In the jazz lounge, Summer chastises her mother for going at it with Diane. Phyllis says she was defending her. Summer argues that she was just defending Kyle, so it's all a bunch of noise. Phyllis complains that Diane is oblivious to her role in this. Victor appears and tells Summer that he handled all of this. It's going to be ok. He walks out. Phyllis says, Summer, please tell me you didn't ask Victor to help you. Still at their picnic, Devin wonders if they can pull off a wedding in 3 months. Abby's confident. They banter about ideas for the ceremony. Abby gushes that they'll have the cutest ring bearer ever in Dominic. Devin teases that he might be his best man. Abby knows that he'll be a part of it because they're a family. They kiss. Kyle finds Claire and Harrison in the park, looking at cloud animals. Claire asks Kyle, did everything turn out like you hoped? Kyle says it's all good. In the dining room, Diane rants to Jack that Phyllis sees everything like a cage fight. She won't allow her and Summer to blame Kyle when Summer started it and Phyllis lit the fuse. Jack loves her passion and desire to protect their son, but it's time they all back off and let Summer and Kyle work through this. Diane needs Kyle to know she's on his side. They're a family. If taking on Phyllis is what she has to do to win Kyle back, she is prepared to do it. In the jazz lounge, Summer tells Phyllis she didn't have many options. Her grandfather offered to talk to Kyle for her and she's grateful. Phyllis warns she'll be forever indebted, and that's not a place she wants to be. Summer thinks it's different for her. She's his granddaughter. Phyllis tells her she's naive. Victor's not above using anyone or anything to get what he wants. Summer gets a text from Kyle asking to meet. Phyllis warns from here on out, she needs to be on her guard. Next on The Young and the Restless. Victor tasks Adam with targeting Billy, Summer demands Kyle cut ties with Audra, and Chelsea goes on a guilt trip.